I want to share with you a story that I came across. It was in December 1977. The Arkansas Razorbacks, coached by Lou Holtz at that time, were preparing to play the Oklahoma Sooners in the Orange Bowl. Now, because of recent suspensions on the Razorback team, and as a result of that, some dissension among the players, Arkansas had become a 24-point underdog, and the negative press took its effect on the players as they prepared for the game. It was extremely evident by the way they practiced. They were listless, unfocused, completely lacking confidence. So, what did the coach do? Lou Holtz called a team meeting, and as the players sat slumped in their chairs, staring at the floor, this is what he said. He said, "Just because the press is writing your obituary doesn't mean that we have to die. We've read the reasons why we can't win. I want to hear reasons why we can." And after he made that statement, nobody had an opinion. No one said anything. The players were silent. Then finally, Lou Holtz said to them, he says, "We're not leaving this meeting until I get some answers." And slowly, the players began to speak up. They had lost some key players on the offense side of the ball, but their defense was still intact. They had the best place kicker in the country, and they had a great quarterback. And they went on and on and on. And the more the players talked about why they could win, the more confidence soared, and the more their outlook changed upon things. A few days later, the Razorbacks pulled off one of the greatest upsets in bowl history, beating Oklahoma 31-6. Now, this is what Lou Holtz said. He said, "We won the game. That moment, our players focused on what we had instead of what we lacked." Let me read that to you again. We won the game the moment our players focused on what we had instead of what we lacked. In the Old Testament, Moses faced a similar situation when God called him to lead the people of Israel out of slavery. Moses' response was, "What if they don't listen to me?" And God's response was this. In Exodus chapter 4, God said, "What's in your hand?" In other words, what do you have? What Moses had in his hand was a rod. But it was more than a rod. That rod symbolized the power of God. And it was all that Moses needed. See, that rod taught Moses not to look at what he had lacked, but rather to look at what he had. And he had the power of God in his life. Now, what a lesson that is for us today. It's easy right now to look at the path ahead and say it just can't be done. It's easy to say there is no earthly way, and we focus on what we lack. But the question that God asked Moses is, what do you have? We all may have some talent. We may have some determination. But these in themselves are not sufficient. They leave us in need. What do we have? In Christ, we have the power of God. So whatever challenges we are facing, whatever seemingly insurmountable odds that are before us, remember that the key to victory is focusing on what we have, not on what we lack. Those that are in Christ, we have the power of God. Hope that you have a great day, and you don't focus on what you don't have, but you focus on what you do have in Christ. God bless.